Hey y'all, welcome back to the Waterlogged Woodsman. We're in the airport on our way to Texas right now, and we'll let you know a little bit more about what we're doing when we get there.
It's good, thank you, sir.
Rings over your nose and mouth.
Well, welcome to Texas. As you can tell from the gun on my shoulder, we're here doing a little hunting. I got a buddy down here from school, Ben, which you met this summer in a couple of my other videos, such as hiking Mount Elbert and a couple of the fishing ones. But we're out here this week hoping that we can shoot a buck. I've shot some deer before, but never a whitetail, so wish me luck. Hopefully one of these nights we'll get to shoot a nice whitetail buck. Well, the first thing we did when we arrived in Texas was pretty much check that all the guns were dialed in. We had the Ruger M77 and 270, a 300 WSM, and a couple shotguns that we wanted to shoot before we went hunting, just to make sure that we were, dialed in and we wouldn't be wounding any animals that we would then have to track later. Now, for our first hunt, it was an evening hunt, and we were hunting a 10-point buck that probably had about 6 different people and about 100 hours down trying to kill this deer. And this deer had somehow managed to evade us the entire time. You know, it was always coming and showing up on camera when someone wasn't hunting and then managing not to be there when someone was. The first deer to come out that evening was a small fawn, which was soon followed by a broken off or like semi-spike buck where you had one on one side and two on the other. And then a couple does followed later on. And we just sat around that evening, got to watch the deer kind of interact with each other, but we didn't have the luck of seeing the 10-point buck walk out for us to shoot. To finish off the evening, when we were getting out of the stand, we could see the 2 does that we'd spooked off when we were walking, but then the coyotes started going off like crazy. And I think the does were a little bit nervous from us, and the coyotes doubled in, so they went running off. Now the next morning, I sat in that stand all morning and didn't see anything, so we decided to make the move to another one of the properties that we'd seen more deer at for that afternoon's hunt. Now the stand that we were going to hunt is called Benjamin's Perch, and as we were walking up, we scared some deer out from the feeder. And this stand is about 100 yards away from a feeder. It's a tall tower box stand. And we were kind of worried that we'd spooked off the deer that maybe we were looking for. Now for this new property, we had another deer in mind. He was a 9-point that was about 5 or 6 years old, so he's a nice mature buck, and we were just hoping to see him at one of the feeders. And we saw a bunch of deer. The afternoon started out with the biggest buck on the property, which obviously is on the no-kill list because we want him to improve the genetics of the entire population. Walked out and just stood there broadside for probably 15 minutes. And after a small wait, the feeders went off. Deer were moving around. We couldn't find the deer that we were looking for, didn't show up. And then eventually, come to find out later, he walked out. Now we had this deer on camera the entire time. We were trying to figure out if this was the deer or not. But a couple of the distinct features that we knew about this deer, we couldn't see. So this deer was supposed to have a kicker off his G2 and also a spiraling brow tine. Neither of which of these features were visible to us through the scope or the binoculars, and so we were extremely confused. And now the deer came walking up the road, turned away into the brush after a couple does, and then eventually circled around back to us. When he came close to us, we could see that he was broken off on that exact brow tine and that kicker that we were looking for. And so so we could tell that this is the deer we were after. But by the time we were ready to shoot him, you know, he was 25 yards. So we made a little bit of noise in the stand and he heard us and he got spooked. The deer ended up running to our left about 25 yards, stopping at about 30, completely broadside. We were trying to get the camera and the gun on him at the same time.
I got him, if you're ready.
And just as I clicked the safety off,
Are you ready? Yep.
boom, deer's gone, takes off. We don't see him again for the rest of the night. Now, amidst these unsuccessful deer hunts, we were having great success with a couple other things, which were napping through the middle of the day to catch up on the sleep we were missing, and also duck hunting. Now, the tactic we were using to shoot these ducks was driving around side by side between a bunch of different ponds on the property and walking up on the dam or embankment side and spooking ducks up into the air out of the pond. Yeah, super pretty, that bill too. Yeah. The green on the wings. Super nice duck. Over the first few days of our trip, we ended up killing 5 ducks of 5 different species, which was pretty cool to see. And we think this is because this property is relatively close to the Red River area, the border between Texas and Oklahoma, which is kind of used as a highway for ducks. And so they're just popping out from the Red River to take a rest in these ponds that are on these properties and just waiting for us to pop up, scare them, and shoot them. Speckled stomach. Oh yeah.
First one off this pond.
I got 2. One.
Oh yeah, that's definitely valid.
There we go. I think it's the same one. Same kind. Go kick around in the grass. It doesn't have the same bill, actually.
Yeah, that's different. It's got the brown.
Different kind of duck. Now, the day after we had identified and had an unsuccessful hunt on our target buck, we sat the next morning and only saw does. So we made the choice to just go around, pull all the camera cards, and see what was happening. And what was revealed to us is that the bucks were only showing up in the evenings. So we had a good idea just to come back to the same spot where this buck had been showing up the past few evenings in a row, and just hoping to catch him again, and that we hadn't spooked him off significantly the night before. And it wasn't too long before he walked out. And this deer was in front of us for a long time. He was walking back and forth. He'd walk in front of the feeder, he'd walk behind the feeder, we'd have does walk behind him, or other deer walk behind him or in front of him. And we just could not get a clean shot where the camera was on the deer and the gun was pointing at the deer that was safe to take for a good 20 minutes. He even went and stood behind this one little tree. That was the only thing that could have obstructed our view besides the feeders and other deer for a good 10 minutes on camera. And eventually he made his fatal mistake. He walked 3 yards to his left, out from in front of the feeder, and had no other obstructions around.
Shoot him there. Just shoot him.
You sure?
Shoot him.
Okay.
Kill him. smoked him.
Really?
Perfect shot. He's gonna go down right there. Let's go.
You could see it?
Oh yeah. He broke his front legs for sure. He's gonna be somewhere in there. He was jumping trying to get out of there. Let's go.
That's good.
Finally.
It only took all day. Jesus Christ.
Let's see. So it's been 19 minutes since he came out.
Yeah.
Trying to get a shot.
He was there for 19. Alright, now it's time to...
Oh yeah, he smoked him for sure. So probably right around here. And then he took off this way. Don't see blood. Oh shit, look at all this right here.
There. You're gonna have to probably turn that way, so...
Find the deer. And then come back to the blood trail if we can't.
See if he's walking off one of the sides.
I would look back into the tree. Oh, there he is, right there.
Oh.
White belly. Look at those antlers.
He's dead.
Seems kind of dead.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. And now, after a quick cleaning job and some quick photos, we loaded the deer in the back of the truck and took him to the processor where he would be donated to people that needed his meat more than we did. If you've made it this far in the video, I just want to give a huge thanks to those of you who are continuing to watch my videos and supporting the channel. If you're new here, subscribe. It's at no cost to you, and it just helps me continue to be motivated to keep making these videos. And if you're here and you've been a subscriber, thank you so much for your support, and we'll see you in the next video. Next week, we'll be hunting yet another great Texas buck, so make sure you tune in and see how that hunt goes.